Hi guys, it's Toby here. I am the Ecom Business Coach. In this training, I'm going to give you an overview of what you need to do to drive growth in your ecom business. Obviously, growing your ecom business is vital to your success and ultimately getting to the level where you want to get to, where you can generate the profit and the income that you need. So obviously there's some pretty key things in this training that will help you getting an understanding of the framework of the things you need to do to grow your ecom business. Now, to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the framework that I use when working with my clients one-on-one. Obviously, when I do this, our aim is to get you to $1 million ecom store. That's $1 million a year initially, and then ideally get you to $1 million a month. That's what we want to aim to do. And this, it gives you a framework to follow and it gives you the principles that you need to implement that will help you get there. Now today we're focusing on the lack of growth here and solving that. So growth mastery that's what we're focusing today. We're not focusing on the other areas, which is money mastery and people mastery. So from a growth perspective, there's 3 key areas that I work on and that you need to work on in your ecom business. And that first and foremost starts with products. Excuse me. So the first thing we need to do from a products point of view, we're going to run out of space of where to write this, is look at your range. So the first thing we need to do, and this is a big mistake that I've had clients make, where they develop a core group of great products, but then they don't add to that product range. You want to make sure you're constantly looking at range and seeing where you can add to that range. And there's 2 kind of ways of looking at this. First is you can look at getting more into vertical, where you're looking at different sizes, different flavors, different colors, that type of thing. And then horizontal as well. What other products can you add that fit your value proposition and your target market so that you can get more spend from your customers? So this is something that you need to be working on all the time. You need team members or yourself assigned or focused on this area, and that's product development or product sourcing. So you can add more products to your store as you go. Now obviously there's a limit, there might be a limit to how many products you want on there or how much you can manage, and you need to be careful and plan that out carefully. Like adding another color or another design or another flavor might not be that much work, but developing a whole new product is a lot of work, but they both take up money. So you need to plan that out, and you should have a product development plan for your ecom business where you're constantly looking and researching, then bringing on new products. And I'm sure you'll get lots of ideas all the time, like we should stock this, or I want to source that. Put it down on a list and then work out the ones you want to work on, and then have a release plan for when you're going to release them and when you can market them. But you do want to increase that product range. At the end of the day, probably 80% of your sales will come from 20% of your product range, but you don't necessarily know what product range that is. Some product life cycles are shorter than others, so they come out of favor, or competition can come along and eat away at your market. Where if you've got more products to rely on, obviously you're spreading that risk. So it's really important you look at your range and you're constantly looking at developing it and growing it. The next thing from a product point of view is then fulfillment. So you need to then make sure you're set up to be able to fulfill your product's orders. Now the key thing here is when you're small, often it's you picking and packing the orders or making the product and shipping it out. When you grow, you're going to have to get other people to do that. So for us to be able to do that, you need to make sure you've got the right systems and processes set up, ready for when you grow, you're still going to be able to produce your product or deliver your product consistently. And you can bring on more people to help you. So you need to sit down and work out, okay, what is our process? What are our SOPs or standard operating procedures for once an order is received to an order being fulfilled, or the product being purchased to it being stocked, or the product being manufactured to it being shipped. All your standard operating procedures need to be in and you then need to have the right team set up. So you need to have a supervisor, or initially when you start it might just be one person, but you need position descriptions, you need training, you need all of those things set up so that when you do grow, you can go out and get people to help you. But you need to get that right in a growth stage to make sure that when you do grow, you can still provide your product or service consistently. One of the biggest problems that businesses have, and one of the biggest reasons they fail, is often they grow too quickly. And they grow too quickly, and then the thing falls over. And it falls over because often they don't have control of their money, and the growing businesses needs more money. But also, part of it is they don't have the right processes in place. So suddenly when they grow, they can't deliver their product. There's nothing worse than waiting customers. If you piss them off too much, they're not going to come back in the end. So we need to make sure we've got those fulfillment processes set up. Then the next thing from a growth point of view is looking at your store. So you need to make sure your e-com store is set up properly. So this includes looking at conversion. So make sure your site is set up to convert really well. So that makes sure that you need to look at your shopping aisles. You need to look at when a customer lands on your site, where do they go? You look at heat maps. You need to have good category pages, good product pages set up properly with the right information on there. You need little landing pages, sales funnels, all of those types of things need to be set up properly to maximize your conversion. Like, there's no point us sending more traffic, expensive traffic, to your site if you're not set up first and foremost to maximize those conversions. Then after that, you then need to look at then your order. And here you're looking at your order value. So what you can do to boost your order value. That may be having bundles, maybe having order bumps, something else people can add to the cart with that so you can increase your average order value. Then you need to look at how you can get a return customer. And it's really important. It makes it a lot easier if you can have returning customers in your e-com store. So you need to make sure you've got a product that does encourage people to come back. Ideally. Now, you can't always have that, but if you don't have that, then your margins need to be higher because you're making one-off sales to people and they're never coming back. So if they're never coming back, you need to make that profit on that first one. So you need to make sure you've got enough margin to pay for the ad spend and still make good profits. So it can be done, you just need to get the numbers right. But if you can get repeat product, people will come back and buy it more often, then great. And this is where you need to be setting up auto ship and subscription services and funnels to get people to go back for the repeat sale. So it may be that you're selling them a product that lasts them 30, 60, 90 days. They get an email series 30, 60, 90 days from now. If we can't get them onto auto ship, we have funnels like that. So we want to get that repeat sale because that's what will make your business very profitable. So it's really important you do that. Just going back to range for a second, I just remembered one other thing you need to think about as well from a range point of view is, could you sell your product wholesale? So could you sell your product to traditional bricks and mortar stores for them to sell for you? If you can, that helps you reach a whole group of people that you might not be able to reach just on your site on your own. So if you can, that's great as well, so think about that. But from a store point of view, that's what we need to do. We need to set it up so it's ready to convert, and then we can increase that average order value, increasing how many orders and how many times people come back. Then you talk about traffic. We're now ready to send traffic to the store. We've got our fulfillment processes set up. We know what our product range is. We're set up to convert. We've set up to maximize the orders. Now we can send traffic to the site. And obviously there's two ways that we focus on from a traffic point of view. First one is paid, and the second is organic. So paid marketing, what we're talking about there is really Google ads and social media, mainly Meta, which includes Facebook and Instagram. That's where most of your money will go now. Obviously there is TikTok, there's YouTube, which is part of Google really, Pinterest, there's other things which might be suitable for your business. But that's, I think, last time I looked, 80% of ad spend goes through, for digital marketing, goes through Google and Facebook or Meta. So they've got a big chunk of the share, big chunk of the market, and that's where you need to be as well. So you need to look at setting up your campaigns from an ads point of view to drive traffic to your site. Now, you as a business owner, obviously you don't need to be an expert on, say, Google ads, but you need to know enough to be able to find somebody who can help you and where you can hold them accountable. I've seen it too many times where people get in to help them do their AdWords and they just bamboozle them because the owner doesn't understand enough of the technical stuff to work out what's going on. So you need to kind of get a grasp of it as best you can so that you can hold them people accountable. And obviously what we're looking for there is return on ad spend. So if I spend $100, how much am I getting back? And then once you've done your numbers, you'll know what your break even is, so how many the lowest your ad spend needs to be. And that's the same for both areas. But that's kind of your paid ads. And then your organic stuff is more like, okay, getting your site to rank organically. So that's when people search for you, you'll come up on the ads, but your page will come up too. Also, that's then doing social media posts and content. So that's your reels at the moment, which obviously is where everything's at right now. And making sure your content's out there and being seen and we're responding to that content. That's organic. It can also include things like advertising on podcasts, doing PR stuff, a whole heap of other stuff as well. But the key thing is you need to get those core strategies right first. And your core strategies for driving traffic are first and foremost Google or Meta. I've got a client I'm working at the moment and we've doubled their business for the last 3 years in a row, mainly on those strategies. We are only now delving in more and more into other areas. And we've focused on those because that's what was getting us a return on our investment. And we will continue to still do them, but we're adding more organic stuff on there now as well. We've always been doing social media and SEO, but more kind of the podcast, the PR, all of that type of stuff as well, which can help obviously massively too as well. But they're the key things you need to do in your business to drive the growth. Now, if you want any help with that, or if you've got any questions, please put comments below. And if you want some hands-on help, please click the link below to book in a call with myself and we can have a chat. And if you like this content and want to get some more educational content, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Cheers.